All right, Maui Real News number 4, the open secret of corruption.
I came back to let you know, got a thing for you, and I can't let it go.
Welcome to Maui Real News. I'm your host, Brother Chris. We have a significant breaking news story for you today. On Tuesday, over 80 Maui residents signed up to testify on whether or not the Maui County Council should settle the injection well case, withdrawing its petition from the U.S. Supreme Court or allowing the Supreme Court to rule. Keiki, students, their kumu, kupuna, Hawaiians, local residents, environmental experts, state and local representatives, and many, many others all shared their mana'o. Mostly all who shared were there to prevent the unthinkable, the desecration of the Aina on Maui and throughout the continental United States. The bottom line, Mayor Victorino has become the next Alan Arakawa. Moana Ludi, the next Patrick Wong. In other words, no morals, no values, and no integrity. No kidding. This mayor and the Department of the Corporation Council have teamed up with the Trump administration, which they acknowledge in their legal briefs before the Supreme Court, to lead the charge to gut the Clean Water Act by appealing a court case the county lost to the U.S. Supreme Court, which is likely to use the opportunity as a gift to deregulate environmental water protections nationwide on behalf of the fracking, coal, and big business polluters throughout the United States. These environmental protections have been secure for decades under the Clean Water Act. Now, Maui County is poised to give the climate change denial president the biggest gift of his presidency, giving big business the big thumbs up to pollute the ocean with its abundance of marine life and now fragile ecosystems to their heart's content. This victory would be handed to Donald Trump by Maui County and is almost sure to happen if Yuki Lee Sugimura, Alice Lee, Tasha Kama, Ricky Hokama, and Mike Molina vote to continue this case before the Supreme Court. Chair Kelly King, Keani Rollins-Fernandez, Tamara Palton, and Shane Senensi are already diligently working to have the council settle the case. Mr. Molina is the chair of the Government Ethics and Transparency Committee, which presided over the hearing on Tuesday. Councilmember Molina, can you honestly sit there and compliment the students as you did on Tuesday, referring to them as the next generation of leaders, and then vote in such a manner that will crush so many of their hopes and dreams? The dreams and aspirations of those in the next generation who look to you for inspiration to protect and to preserve that which is more valuable than money? The very heart and soul of Maui, the sacred Aina itself? This and the people of the Aina are the reason Maui is one of the most invaluable destination places on planet Earth. Are you prepared to inspire your students, or are you going to let them down? The experts were clear on Tuesday. The technicalities can all be worked out here on Maui. The resources are there in both people, technology, and funding to address the issues, and the permits can be worked out with the Department of Health. But beware, Mike, Yuki Lee, Ricky, and Tasha, of breaking Maui's heart, which, like the Princess Kaiulani's heart, was unable to mend after her queen and her people were betrayed. Could anyone imagine that the day might come where members of the Maui County Council would even consider voting to desecrate the values which bring hundreds of thousands of visitors to these Hawaiian Islands, which ocean and river water represent the very blood of the Aina itself, the very life of the land which can only be perpetuated in righteousness? A little background might help. The county was sued by an environmental group, Earth Justice, for violating the Clean Water Act, which among other things protects navigable ocean waters from pollutants like those from the injection wells. According to the Sierra Club, 3.5 million gallons of partially treated sewage have been pumped into Maui's groundwater through injection wells at the Lahaina Wastewater Reclamation Facility every day for over 30 years. The polluted groundwater then flows into the ocean near Kahikili Beach, one of the most popular snorkeling spots on Maui. The water quality in coral reef has been degraded greatly by being exposed to this much pollution for so long. The scientific community has established that the effluents from the injection wells are indeed harming the coral reefs. Take a listen.
Some people are also trying to say that the nitrogen doesn't harm the reef or that it's coming from other sources. There is clear evidence in peer-reviewed scientific papers that the county's wastewater is showing up in coral that's impacted by bioeroders and in turtle tumors, and it is the nitrogen from the treatment plant that's causing this harm. The mayor had an article saying, oh, Kahikili is recovering, the biology is getting better, and certainly we should all celebrate that, but biology is just one indicator, and that was achieved by banning fishing, by saying you cannot take any herbivorous fishes, and that's not how it's supposed to work. The Clean Water Act is supposed to protect the water quality so that we can have that fishery. We're not supposed to eliminate the fishery to mitigate pollution that we're supposed to clean up.
Ms. Knox, okay, thank you, Ms. Knox. Okay, folks.
The Ninth Circuit Court ruled that the county violated the Clean Water Act by failing to obtain the permits required for allowing pollutants from the injection wells to go into the groundwater, which then carries the discharge into the ocean. The Clean Water Act prohibits discharge of any pollutant by any person without a permit, and it defines such discharge as, quote, any addition of any pollutant to navigable waters from any point source. The county petitioned the United States Supreme Court to reverse the decision of the Ninth Circuit to get out of having to be responsible for their decision to use the injection wells without a permit. What we know is that Donald Trump has an agenda to gut the Clean Water Act so that there is little or no regulation on pollutants from coal mining and fracking across the country, and in our case, from injection wells, which are harming the reef. By the way, Ireland just became the 4th country in Europe to ban fracking. What we know is that the Supreme Court takes only a very small percentage of these cases, and that there is a philosophy shared by a majority of court justices presently to deregulate business, which will likely result in a ruling which helps to destroy the Clean Water Act nationwide. That will mean that if this case is ruled on by the U.S. Supreme Court, Maui would be used by the Trump administration to harm the INA throughout the Hawaiian Islands and throughout the continental United States. Council members, are you prepared to allow that to happen? In other words, Maui County, which should be at the vanguard of protecting the ocean and its marine life, will become the very instrument used to remove existing protections that will lead to an environmental destruction and degradation throughout the continental United States. Earth Justice, the plaintiff in the case, has expressed over and over their willingness to work with the county to improve our water systems. There is no reason to allow this to happen. This has the potential to severely harm Maui's standing in the world and make Maui an international pariah. Senator Angus McKelvey from the West Side said that if the County Council does not settle this case, expect Trump to send a thank you to Maui for successfully advancing his agenda for big business polluters and environmental deregulation.
This issue is spinning out of control to have national implications. This issue will not just affect us here in Maui Nui. This issue will, sorry about the beep, you know, us state guys, we like to ramble on. It will affect everybody from tin mines in New Mexico, coal ash deposits in West Virginia, large-scale agricultural runoff in Minnesota. Hey. All of these places, the community's right to know what is being discharged into their surface waters, navigable waters, and yes, I believe Kahikili is navigable. I've surfed and paddled around it on a canoe several times. But the fact of the matter is this will have implications across the board. The Trump administration has left with one victory in their aggressive agenda, because all others have been thwarted, and that is this. If the Trump administration has told his base over and over again, you make me president, I will put people on the Supreme Court to overturn these unjust laws. He has those two people. It is not a fair and neutral bench. It is not a fair and neutral body. And if this decision is overturned at the Supreme Court, I guarantee you there'll be tweets aplenty from the Trump administration, from the president himself, thanking Maui County for their visionary leadership in making America great again.
Okay, Mr. Representative, thank you for your comments.
However, the Maui County Council has the power to settle the case, and the two parties which are playing games with this process and trying to manipulate them to advance their own self-serving agendas are the Corporation Council and the Mayor, Mike Victorino. Mayor Victorino sent a settlement offer to the council under orders that its terms remain secret and only heard by legislators in executive session. That is when the council members meet with Corp Counsel and cannot discuss those terms in public. That is a complete opposite of transparent government in this case and is reprehensible. What, Mr. Mayor, no more courage? You cannot be Pono? You only want to look good, not be good? Mr. Mayor, what are you hiding? What he is hiding is the fact that the Department of Corp Counsel takes charge behind the scenes and historically tries to intimidate council members to do what they want. They've been doing it for years, and right now our county attorneys are teamed up with attorneys throughout the United States supporting the Trump administration's efforts to gut the Clean Water Act. In fact, Mayor Victorino said that Patrick Wong intimidated him when he was a council member from investigating a whole lot of corruption. They did it to other council members as well. It's what's called an open secret. Council members who disagree with Corp Counsel are often afraid to act against their attorney's advice, which advice, by the way, is ironically often ultimately harmful to the county. And no one has been able or willing to stop them. Listen to an excerpt from my testimony during the Injection Well hearing.
Let's not fool ourselves. The Department of the Corporation Council, not the mayor, is in charge of this case and these proceedings. This Corporation Council has tried to insert language in the prior Injection Well settlement resolution, which has no precedent, violates the Hawaii rules of professional conduct about attorney-client relationship, in which language sought to deceptively wrest control from both the mayor and the council in these settlement proceedings. This Corp Council has lied to this body, a proven fact, during Ms. Ludy's confirmation hearings about environmental law in a case involving an unfulfilled SMA permit by a developer. The attorneys of this Corp Council drafted deceptive language to amend Title 18, the subdivision ordinance, to enrich commercial developers and private interests at the expense of county taxpayers, which the council is now trying to repeal. They have been just caught making false representations about judicial records. This council, with the exception of 4 of its members, appear to be under the control of Corp Counsel Moana Ludy and her deputies. Understand that Corp Counsel has no real interest in settling this case unless it's a clear win for them. Ms. Ludy is a litigator who, in her own words during confirmation, said that she does not like to settle cases. She will drag the entire county down to her level and attempt to win regardless of the cost to the county. Without the terms being public, the mayor's real intentions are highly questionable. Ms. Ludy and her previous department director Wong have proven through numerous cases that they refuse to settle, only to lose or settle later at a far greater cost to the county. In a recent case before Judge Cahill, Kanapali Ocean Villas, Judge Cahill said Corp Counsel abused its taxation power to create a weapon. Corp Counsel has been using this case now as a weapon against the Clean Water Act and for others' interests. In the tax case, they may have severely damaged the county's bond and credit rating of this county. Now Corp Counsel is about to damage Maui County's standing in the world and turn Maui, which should be viewed as a vanguard of protecting the Clean Water Act, into a pariah on the world stage.
There were those of us who put our faith in this mayor to clean up the corruption he is fully informed about. Corruption in Corp Counsel, in planning, in public works. But then the mayor hasn't kept his word to do that. He has folded and caved to the corruption within his own administration, which also preceded it, and which now seeks to undermine a good faith settlement in the Injection Wells case. Unfortunately, I believe that the mayor may be both politically and personally compromised at this point. Meanwhile, environmental experts on Maui have come forward to advise the council on how to properly utilize the water sources on Maui to mitigate the harm from the injection wells. The previous and now current administration refuses to reach out to experts other than those which rubber stamp their own positions and which cover up the misdeeds of former and current county officials. But many experts who live and work on Maui and who care about the INA and the county showed up in force at the hearing on Tuesday. The mayor, which is really the Corporation Council in disguise, only provided a revised settlement offer to the council in executive session because Kelly King used her power under the charter to require Corp Counsel to provide the council with the settlement offers made in the case.
Corp Counsel functions as an independent branch of government with no oversight and no accountability, and that's just wrong. Today's public hearing notice references our county charter, section 3.16.20. Let me quote. The council shall determine and specify from time to time by resolution claims for which all written offers of settlement are to be transmitted to the council. So unless this body goes out of its way to specifically request and name actions proactively, you never get notified of settlement offers. Corporation Counsel withheld Surfrider's previous offers to settle for years. Like Angus McKelvey noted this morning, this is something kind of new here. This is one of the few times I've ever been aware of the council specifying that it wants its authority back. Congratulations for doing so.
Kelly King forced the mayor's hand, and so he had to do something to look good to the public on the surface, while he simultaneously is hiding the details of his proposal from the public. Same old, same old. Welcome back, Mayor Alan Arakawa. The mayor sent a settlement offer with secret terms to the council to be heard in executive session, but oversight from the community outside of executive session, discussed in the public forum where the council members are able to speak freely to the public, is necessary. Otherwise, there is no transparency in the governing process, and the community remains in the dark about what's really going on. Mr. Mayor, people only do things in the dark when they have something to hide. The mayor and Corp Counsel representing our county have stated in their legal briefs that they are in alignment with the Trump administration's position, which allows the deregulation of pollutants into the water. And so the mayor is allowing our Corp Counsel attorneys to work with the Trump administration to launch a direct attack on the Clean Water Act.
So I wouldn't be here if I thought the county was getting a raw deal or if individual homeowners on Maui were going to be hurt or harmed. Our clients are Maui citizens. And for the same reason, I've just been dismayed at the county's attack against the Clean Water Act, not just here at home in Maui and in Hawaii, but really for the entire nation. And there's no way you can sugarcoat this. This is not clarifying the law. This is upending decades of consistent law interpretation. And you don't have to believe me. Read the county's own briefs. If you stick your pipe into the ground, you're free from regulation. This is the county talking with the Trump EPA, and they say they're in substantial agreement with the Trump administration. If you saw off your pipe 10 feet from the water's edge, you're free from regulation. I mean, you can't draw clearer pictures in this. You don't have to get into the terminology. These are the extreme positions that the county is taking before the Supreme Court in your name. So we think we have a very strong case, and if it goes all the way, we're hopeful that the court will uphold, its legal principles and uphold the Clean Water Act. But even so that we think we're going to win, we think it's better for us to work it out at home and not display this whole controversy, Maui in front of the whole world, Maui's pollution problems, Maui's alliance with the Trump administration. Wouldn't it be better just to resolve this? And that's my sort of mystery. Why? How has it gotten this far? But we have a chance to make it right now.
Yuki Lee Sugimura, to her credit, asked some really good questions of the Earth Justice attorney during the council hearing. Those questions were answered by both him and earlier in the public testimony by another environmental professional who has years of experience enforcing these permits.
In my experience in 30 years of working in permitting in the Clean Water Act, working for agencies all over the country, I've had clients in 20 different states. The interpretation has always been that the Clean Water Act always gave the authority for the state departments and EPA to regulate cesspools and septic tanks. That is a large problem from a management standpoint to regulate a large number of small discharges, and there are many more larger pollution problems like the injection wells to take their attention. So this is not going to give any new authority to them. And I think DOH has been pretty clear, and the agency that I used to work for when I was a young permit writer, I'm like, we got to regulate this septic. And they're like, we could, but why would we when we've got bigger fish to fry? So I think that's a lot of smoke and mirrors.
I went to the EPA website itself, and I looked at the website, and I said, okay, you know, our cesspools and septic systems, because this is the drumbeat that I keep hearing, individual homeowners with these systems are going to face this potentially costly NPEDS and PDES permits if this were to go to the Supreme Court and be overturned. And it says right here that basically individual homes that are connected to a municipal system use a septic system or do not have a surface discharge, which I believe cesspools do not need an NPEDS permit. Right there, black and white on the URL. Not me, this is the EPA.
The regulations, which Yuki and others have expressed concern about, do not apply to individuals or private cesspool tanks. This is the fear-mongering the administration is using to scare residents and council members alike. What will happen if the council settles the case? Yuki asked. The status quo will be maintained, was the answer. The status quo requires us to follow the law and protect our oceans. Earth Justice, the plaintiff and victor in the case, has again expressed its desire to work with and help the county to do just that, without seeking to impose financial penalties. Another concern that was adequately addressed was whether Maui's land treatment could run afoul of the Clean Water Act. The answer? It's already covered by the Department of Health. There is already a general permit for recycled water use. It covers, on a blanket basis, any recycled water in the state. If you follow the rules and conditions, the county is covered. Yuki Lee cites to concern for her upcountry residents with cesspools or septic tanks. The experts in permitting said that it can be worked out under general permits with the Department of Health. Yuki commented that it has been difficult getting permits from the Department of Health. However, she was informed for the first time that the county administration has asked numerous times for delays in providing the Department of Health with the necessary info to complete their applications for permits for the Lahaina wastewater plant, for example. Come on, administration. Take care of your kuleana. Stop the fear tactics in confusing the council members, which look to you for guidance. The council members which support the case going forward to the Supreme Court claim that it is because the court will provide clarity. This Supreme Court is far more likely to use this opportunity to deregulate the environmental protections provided nationwide under the Clean Water Act. Supporters of big business polluters have written briefs to the court on this case, so it will deregulate their industry. Do Maui County Council members really want to be responsible for causing environmental destruction nationwide by going forth with this appeal to the Supreme Court, which will likely allow the gutting of the Clean Water Act? Let's take responsibility for our own kuleana and not prevent further harm to the Aina on Maui and elsewhere. Again, right now, 4 council members are clearly voting to protect the Aina and Maui County's reputation in the world. Kelly King, Keani Rollins-Fernandez, Tamara Paulton, and Shane Sinensi. The others hold the fate of the county in their hands in this case. From observing this council closely, at least 2 of them are in the pocket of the Corporation Council, Alice Lee and Tasha Kama. Ricky Hokama may not be intimidated by Corp Counsel because he's kind of a free thinker in his own right. Mike Molina, Mike, you're a teacher, and you know better. Talk is cheap. Actions speak louder than words. Please, Mike, lead by example. Yuki, Lee, and Tasha, who are aspiring leaders in the community, need to understand that if their decision to go forward with the Supreme Court case results in Maui being given the title of destroyer of environmental protections nationwide, history will not treat them kindly. They should then seriously consider this as their last term in office, and the impact upon them being no longer viewed as a respected leader in this community.
Hi, my name's Emily Hosseinian. I'm 21 years old, and I'm here on behalf of all my friends, my peers, young people my age, just representing what I've heard from everyone that I've talked to and what they want. Everyone on this island is affected by the health of our reefs. We want the decisions that are made about Maui to happen here on Maui by the people of Maui in order to ensure these decisions are in the best interests of our residents. That is why we urge you to settle the Lahaina Injection Wells case here. We want to see our county make a shift towards sustainability anyways, so this is a golden opportunity for that. The group of you all here have that opportunity to make that decision, and how many people get to say that in their careers, that they made such a big impact on the world. We can't get back all of the money we've already spent dragging this case out since I was like 11. But we can stop wasting money to send this to the Supreme Court and use that money towards making changes that are for a better and brighter future. We understand that change is hard, it's expensive, and it's inconvenient, but it's going to be on the backs of young people anyway, so why don't we build what they actually want to see happen? And we're willing to put in the work. Overall, this is an opportunity for the county to reflect on their responsibility to the community that they govern. It's a step towards accountability and making things right. We should be coming together and finding solutions to protect a brighter future, not be fear-mongering and putting a price on the health of this planet and our communities. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony, Mr. Hosseinian. Always nice to see someone from your generation up here giving your thoughts. After all, it's your generation that will be carrying the torch of leadership in this community someday.
Really, what the Ninth Court and the Appellate Court has done is just strengthened the Clean Water Act, which is good for us. I mean, yeah, we have to get into compliance, but that's like the 21st century, hello. We need to do this. If we go to the Supreme Court, oh my God, we're airing our dirty laundry to the world. We're going to be looked at like the polluters of, the Maui is horrible. It'll be a really bad PR for tourism, and it won't serve. I'm telling you, it's going to come back on us. It'll be very bad to do, because if we try to hurt the cornerstone of environmentalism from 1972, it's not right. We can go forward with the Clean Water Act. And we are supposed to be, what is the state motto? Perpetuating the land through righteousness, Pono actions. You don't work for the mayor, you work for the people. And bless his heart, but he's being really misguided here. Please. I mean, it's a shabai thinking that we have to go to the Supreme Court for anything. Really, it's not right.
In the book of Acts 2:17 and Joel 2:28, it says, "In the last days, God says, I will pour out my spirit on all the people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your young men will see visions. Your elders will dream dreams." We'll be right back. Thanks for watching. Call the council members on your screen. Leave voicemails, email them, share your mana'o. Let them know what you're thinking. Encourage them to be pono and to malama the aina. This is far too important to remain on the sidelines. And if you like what we are doing in Maui Real News, please support us by sponsoring an episode or going to our crowdfunding page at mauicauses.org. We can't do it alone. We need each other. For more information and details, please contact us at mauirealnews@gmail.com. Until now, we have self-funded all our own production costs, and we wish to be able to continue to bring you the real news that you deserve. Keeping it real, giving it to you straight. just the way you like it. Malama Pono.